I used to think that my body was broken. I thought I needed to give myself time to heal. And so I waited. And while I waited, I stayed fat, I stayed inflamed, and I stayed stuck. Here's what nobody told me. Weight loss was the healing that I needed to do. It wasn't something to wait for, it was something to work for. Hi, if we're just meeting, my name's Claire, Carnivore Claire. I've lost 130 pounds eating a high-fat carnivore diet on 1 meal a day. I used to weigh 287 pounds and now I'm a healthy BMI. This channel isn't about what's popular, it's about what works. And today we're discussing the carnivore myth that keeps you fat. So you've heard fix your hormones first, heal your gut, eat meat and wait. It sounds caring, but for most people it backfires. So in the carnivore community, we do hear a lot that you need to heal your body first before you lose weight. When you heal your body, your weight loss will fall off eventually. For me, that is not something I subscribe to. I didn't wait to heal my body. I believed losing weight was the healing that I needed to do. There are lots of reasons for that, and we are going to get into all of it throughout this video. But first of all, I want to talk about how this mindset will keep you stuck. And there's a few reasons or ways that that might happen. So when we were on the SAD diet, this is exactly what we did. And we got the results that we got. For myself, I weighed nearly 300 pounds. And for many of you, you have a lot of weight issues, if not weight, diabetes, and all sorts of other things going on. And it didn't help us, did it? So we come to the carnivore diet, and it's given us permission to continue to eat in the same way with the same habits that we did previously. I think it was Einstein who probably didn't say it, but he apparently said doing the same thing over and expecting different results is a sign of insanity. And that's what we're doing here, is we are just eating and eating and eating and expecting our body to heal and the weight to fall off. And then when the weight doesn't come off at first, we might get on the comments and ask people, and they will say, you've just got to give your body time to heal. So you continue to eat and you continue to put on weight. Your body's not healing because you have a lot of weight on you, and that is what needs to be removed in order for you to start healing. We come to this way of eating metabolically unwell for the most part. By coming here and continuing to eat in the same way that we ate previously, just with different foods, you're not fixing anything. In order to become metabolically healthy, you need to bring your weight down, and we will get into that a little bit more. Another way we're keeping ourselves stuck by staying in this mindset is that we are avoiding fasting. Fasting is a tool that is super, super powerful alongside carnivore. For myself, I wasn't actually able to lose weight on carnivore alone. I needed to incorporate fasting, but I didn't do that in the beginning. When you have this mindset of you just need to heal first, which never actually sounded right to me, to be honest, but for the first month I did exactly that. It stopped me from fasting. It stopped me from having the healing that fasting can bring. So most people go to fasting because it is a weight loss tool. It's a very efficient weight loss tool. If anyone is struggling to lose weight on carnivore, try fasting and you will see immediate results. But what people don't also think about is the healing. Your body goes into a state of autophagy, and that is where it cleans up all the debris, all the dead cells, and eats them itself. So you just have a much clearer body. I notice when I'm in autophagy, my skin is so much clearer. I've got more energy. less brain fog, etc. So there is healing that is actually going on when you are fasting. And if you are staying in this mindset of, I just need to heal my body's going to do all the work itself, I don't have to do any work, then you are fooling yourself, because you are not implementing things that are going to help you. So we spoke just now about eating too much. If you were to rein that in, and you can do that with fasting, then you are going to see results. And as your weight comes down, you're going to see a reduction in inflammation and many other conditions. Another way that this mindset of just eat as much as you want to heal is holding you back, is keeping you stuck, is the identity that it is giving you. You know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I do like to talk about the psychological aspect of weight loss and of carnivore as well, because it is super important, and you can't come to carnivore to eat in a certain way without addressing the psychological aspects of it. They come as a package, they're not separate. And so when you are eating abundantly, as much as you want in order to heal, what you're telling yourself is, I am a healer, but you're not a fixer. You're a passive passenger in your own journey, so to speak. You leave a comment down below and let me know any time in your life previous to carnivore where you have been completely passive, you've put no effort into something whatsoever, and you've got the exact result that you want. If that's happened, you're very fortunate and very rare. But for most people, you have to put effort in order to get the results that you want. I didn't get the results I want by being passive. I think looking at the label you are giving yourself psychologically, maybe even subconsciously, is really helpful. Because if you're a healer, or I'm just healing but not doing anything, then 6 months down the track, you're going to be commenting on my videos saying, why have I not been losing weight? You might very slowly over time, without any kind of restriction, get some healing. But if you are still fat, then you are not healed, because being fat is an inflammation of its own. I'm bringing the brutal truths to you today. I'm bringing the brutal truths. You've got to ask yourself, are you just numbing your pain by continuing to eat? Or are you actually seeing some changes in your body that suggest you are healing? And you've got to be really, really honest with yourself about that. So as I stated in the beginning, I was 287 pounds, which is 20 stones and 8 pounds in British money, so to speak. I was in a really bad way. I was bedbound with ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. I was isolated. My marriage had fallen apart. I was destitute, basically. I was in a really bad way. And if I hadn't found some success with carnivore, I don't know where I would be today. But success is exactly what I did find. In the beginning, the first month or so, I went on carnivore and I just ate abundantly. And I do recommend that in the beginning for a month, but no longer than a month. When your body is becoming fat adapted, it is so important to have enough fat and protein for your body to utilize and to give you energy. At some point, you have to ask yourself, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? Because I did it for a month and I didn't lose anything. Luckily, I didn't put any weight on, but many people do. But I really wanted the weight to come off. And so after a month, people were telling me, you still got to heal. You still got to heal. So I continued, and I did lose 20 pounds. And then it went back on again. I'd gotten excited when I lost those 20 pounds. And then when it went back on, I was like, really like dejected, I guess. I was like, I am healing in that I am feeling less inflammation. I'm not feeling so bloated, but the weight wasn't shifting. So in that situation, there is only so much healing I could possibly have done without losing weight. It lowered the inflammation a little bit, which reduced my pain. What would have happened if I'd stayed fat is I wouldn't have got any further better. So I decided to do some fasting. I started with a 24-hour fast, loved it, got a huge dopamine hit from it, felt amazing. I lost 2 or 3 pounds the next day and I was hooked on it. So I was doing that once a week for a month and the weight was starting to come down. And then I thought I'm going to try OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. I said just 3 days. Then that's not a big commitment. And that was like nearly 18 months ago, and I am still OMAD now. I was just converted. It enabled my weight loss to come down fairly quickly, and because I was seeing a reduction in my fat, I was seeing more benefits than I would have seen without that. I was diagnosed with osteoporosis in my knees some years ago. And at the point I started to lose weight, my knees were really dodgy and I was starting to think I might need an operation. As the weight come down and there was less weight on my knees, that eased the pressure. And now my knees are fine. I have no problems at all. As I lost weight and I was doing it with the fasting, I was getting clearer skin, so I knew my inflammation was coming down. With me, when I was big, a sure sign that I had excess inflammation was my face went really, really red and it was really porous and it had a real horrible texture to it. As I lost weight, all of that come down. As we go through this video, I'm going to be talking more and more about the reasons why weight loss is the actual key to healing. But I want to be clear that this video isn't about guilting you into eating less. You do you. You do what's right for your own individual body. Take what resonates from my advice and leave the rest. What I'm trying to explain is precision. Good quality foods and poor quality foods have the same calorific benefit to them. I'm just trying to get across to you how you can make the weight loss happen for yourself. So let's talk science. We're not going to go really deep into it. It's going to be very much layman's in terms that I understand it, and I am not a scientist. So just bear that in mind. But I think it is really important to acknowledge the science, because I think that's going to help us understand what we need to do to heal our bodies. I hope you can't hear my stomach growling right now. It's 2 hours before OMAD. Fat tissue isn't passive. It releases cyclines. I'll put a couple of them on screen. So it stands to reason that the more fat we have, the more inflammation we have, or at least more inflammatory noise in our bodies. And as we bring the fat down, we bring that inflammatory noise down. We've all seen it, haven't we? When we lose a few pounds, we feel much calmer. Our face is less puffy and it is clearer. We're maybe sleeping better even after only losing a few kilos. And we just have less joint pain as well. They are all clear signals that your inflammation is reducing. So what we can take from this is that fat loss is the healing that we need to do. You lower the fat, you lower the inflammation. And the inflammation is what is causing the majority of our health, especially chronic health problems. A big part of metabolic disease or dysregulation is insulin going up and down. We see it on the SAD diet, don't we? Where it goes up and down like a yo-yo. When you're constantly hungry, this is why. But removing just 5 to 10% of your body weight can massively improve your fasting glucose and your insulin sensitivity. So you don't fix the insulin before you fix the weight loss. You fix the weight loss and that fixes the insulin. One thing you can do on Carnivore is to reduce your eating windows. So for me, I do 23-1. But you could do 24, 16, 8. There's various ones you can do. But if you reduce your eating window, you're going to have less metabolic crashes. And that is going to help you to heal. Fat loss and healing have to work together as one. The next scientific fact is the intake still rules. Carnivore doesn't bypass physics. If you eat 3 ribeyes, 10 eggs and a block of cheese, you're going to see what physics will do for you. On the other hand, if you replace a ribeye with a leaner cut of meat, or maybe you just cut back on your butter for a few days, you are going to see fantastic results. It's not rocket science. You still have to manage the amount that you are intaking. The facts of the matter are quality does not equal deficit. Volume of food is much more important in terms of weight loss. Fasted states support cellular cleanup and gut rest. And while it's doing that, you also burn fat. You don't wait to be ready to fast. Fasting is what helps you to heal, both through its processes and through the weight loss that you achieve. One really fantastic way that fasting for at least 20 to 24 hours a day will help you with is your food noise. So we get those intrusive thoughts, they come in and they're like, eat, 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 eat. Think about food, eat. Think about food, eat. We've all been there, haven't we? I did a poll a while back on my community page and I think 75% of people had experienced food noise, which is just intrusive thoughts about eating. Well, going on this fast for 20 to 24 hours, you are going to massively bring down that food noise. Carnivore in itself should help to bring the food noise down, but in my case, it didn't stop it altogether. But when I fast, it really goes down. It's a tool and it's one that can be really beneficial because the healing happens in the gaps between eating. Not when you're eating in excess, but when you're not eating in excess. Excess fat can ruin your hormones. It increases the load on your joints. It can cause whole body systemic inflammation, wreck your sleep. It can cause reflux and many, many more things. When you reduce that inflammation, what you're doing is you are reducing all of those symptoms. And you are going to give yourself a better quality of life much quicker than if you just wait to heal. So if you come to Carnivore to reduce your chronic conditions, then fat loss is going to speed up the reduction of those symptoms. So one of the biggest problems that I see from my viewers in the comments and on my Facebook group is that people are stalled and they can't seem to lose weight on Carnivore. So I've got a checklist here of 7 things that could be stalling you. Pick 1 or 2 of them to work on and you will likely see the stall removed. The first thing is your eating window. Are you eating all day? Are you grazing? Are you having 3 mad? Are you having 2 mad? If so, reduce your eating window, and that will likely see your stool removed. Go to 20 to 24 hour and you will have perfection. Your food noise will be removed, your hunger will be removed, and you will see the scales drop. I've had so many people tell me that they've taken my advice on this and it has worked. The next thing is the volume of food. Now, counting calories isn't for everyone. Some people like to do it. I recommend you do it for 1 to 2 days only to get an idea of your calories and then adjust your diet based on that. But if you don't want to count calories, at least think about what you're eating when you're eating it. So a lot of people, when they eat, they will eat until they're stuffed and they'll say, I'm full now, and stop eating. Well, when you're stuffed, you are way past the point of being full. When you very first start to feel those feelings of satisfaction in your body when you're eating, and it's very early on, it can be a few bites in, then that is when you can stop. If you're worried about not eating enough, you can stop and then later eat a little bit more. And what you might find is your actual volume comes down. But volume is so important. If you're stalling and you cannot work out why, it's likely the volume. If you're stalling and you've tried those things, maybe it's the fats that you're adding. Now, carnivore is a high fat diet and we should have a high fat percentage within our diet, but for some people that doesn't work, and you might be one of those people, and it might be that you will benefit from reducing your fats. I know when I eat too much butter I get really bloated and I just don't feel very good, so I have to limit my butter. If you reduce the fats, it might just be like trimming your meats or choosing less fatty cuts of meat, or it might be reducing your butter. If you're having cheese, it might be reducing your cheese. I know, but it might be, and those things can help. I was a cheese fiend, complete cheese fiend. Everyone was telling me you've got to give up cheese, and I'm like, no, not happening, it's not happening. But I was eating more and more of it, and it was stalling my weight loss. So one day I had enough and I just stopped eating it. That was like about 6 weeks ago now, and since then the weight has been falling off. I've lost another stone since I stopped that. It might be that you are consuming too much fat. So the next thing you can do to reduce your stool is to use protein as an anchor. So what you can do is when you're eating your meals, eat your protein first, because protein will fill you up for longer. It's going to fill you up. It's got bulk that doesn't easily get broken down. And so if you consume your protein first and then your fat, you're going to hear your hunger signals that much more quickly. And that is going to make you stop eating when you want to stop eating. And then the weight loss should come down. Electrolytes and water. So I am not an advocate for taking electrolytes for electrolytes' sake. I think there's a message out there on the carnivore community to always have electrolytes. It's the answer to every single problem. And for me, that is problematic, because you can have a problem with too high electrolytes as much as you can with too low. So if you can, get your blood tested for electrolytes, and if your levels are normal, then you don't need electrolytes. But if you are stalling and you're hungry a lot of the time, sometimes it's hydration that you need, not actual food. So the next thing that might move your stool is movement. I don't talk a lot about exercise within my videos because I can't exercise. I have ME, which is a genetic condition that causes extreme fatigue. And if I do any activity, then I have a payback for days on end. So for me, exercise isn't something I can do. But if you are otherwise healthy and are able to exercise, then movement can be really powerful. Movement has so many benefits outside of weight loss. If I could do more movement, then I would do it just for the longevity benefits. Last year I did a little period of time where I was walking more, and it did actually help my weight loss. I don't think directly, they don't think that exercise does directly help weight loss, but indirectly, because it balanced my hormones, it reduced my food noise, and I was doing something active, so I wasn't eating at that time. So I think it really did help. And when I stopped it, because it was too hard on my body, I noticed that I was hungry more of the time once I stopped. So it can be a really useful tool for you. And the 7th way is your sleep target. Are you sleeping enough? If your sleep has gone to pot, then everything else will go to pot, including your weight loss. I think if I asked you to leave a comment and say that your sleep ever disrupted your weight loss, I think everyone who watched this video would be commenting and saying yes. Right, do leave me a comment down below. It really, really impacts the weight loss, I think, on a physiological level. If you're not getting the sleep, you're not getting the body repair that you need during that sleep, then your body is going to shut down and it will stop you losing weight. It will hold on to your weight. If you're sleeping well, it won't do that. And also, additionally, that's more hours sleeping, less time thinking or eating food in the wee hours that can actually stall you as well. I want to motivate you, so I have got a 7-day stop waiting plan for you. Are you ready to get on board today and start right now? Because here is what you're going to do. So day 0, which is today, you are going to start planning to eat OMAD 1 meal a day. So you're going to plan for tomorrow's OMAD meal. You are going to decide what you're going to eat. You're going to know in your brain, and you're going to allow your brain to prepare. You're going to get rid of all your trigger foods today, whether that is eating them or binning them or giving them to someone else. You will remove your trigger foods, because when you eat OMAD, you cannot have triggers. You're going to have to stop snacking. So days 1 to 2 is when you're going to start OMAD. You are going to have a 60-hour window, unless you're doing it a different way. But I recommend a 60-hour window, no, a 60-minute window. So you are going to fast for 23 hours, and then you are going to eat in a 1-hour window. In that 23-hour window, there will be no snacks, and you will keep a log of your hunger waves, and you'll want to log the time and the duration of them. You've done day 1 to 2, you're getting into it now, so you're on day 3 to 4, and this is where we are going to reduce the amount of food that we are eating. You're going to eat the same foods as you did on day 1 to 2, but you are going to have slightly leaner cuts of meat, or maybe just a little bit less butter. You decide. You've got to try and bring down the amount so that you're satisfied, but you're not overindulged. So day 5, if you're feeling really brave, you might go for a 36-hour fast. That is really going to push the weight loss for you. But if you can't do that, it's completely understandable. Fasting is a muscle that we have to build up. Just stick to OMAD and go and do a 16-minute walk. If you do a 16-minute walk along with OMAD, doing what you did the day before, it will still help you. So days 6 to 7, you're going to repeat days 3 to 4. So that is eating your OMAD meal, but with slightly leaner cuts. Remove any fats that do not offer you satiety. If you cannot feel satisfied with those fats, maybe you feel satisfaction initially and then you want a little bit more just because you like the taste. That's the thing you've got to cut out. So when you start this challenge, you want to have metrics that you can measure. You are going to want to measure your morning weight, and you want to do this every day. You want to measure your waist measurement at the beginning and the end. Measure your energy on a daily basis and actually throughout the day, and give it a score out of 1 to 5. And also you want to look at your food noise and also give that a score of 1 to 5. And then at the end of the challenge, you can look at the results that you've seen, the weight loss, the measurements around the waist, the food noise and the hunger, and you can adapt and continue from there. I've got a quick step-by-step on how to combat hunger when it strikes, because it does strike us all from time to time. First of all, you're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. You're not going to eat. You're not going to eat at all for those 10 minutes. You're going to drink 300 ml of water with a pinch of salt in it. And if your hunger is thirst, then that will quench your thirst and the hunger will disappear. You're also going to change your location. So if you're sat on the sofa, you might want to go into the bedroom. If you're in the bedroom, you might want to have a shower, or you might want to go for a walk. All of the things, just changing your environment, can stop the hunger because it can take your mind off of it. Then when your timer ends, ask yourself, are you still hungry? In most cases, it will have passed. That is a little hack that I use quite often. So I've talked quite a lot about my contrarian views on how we shouldn't wait to heal. We should make the weight loss happen and then heal. And so I know there are going to be some objections. So I want to address some of the ones that I foresee happening. But feel free to put your objections down below. Be kind as always, but you can put your objections down below. We can all learn from each other. The first objection is, but my hormones need to be fixed. When you lose weight, your hormones will become more efficient. So it is not a case, it's not, weight loss and healing are not mutually exclusive. They work together. The next objection might be, but I am healing without the weight loss. You are. If you are seeing a reduction in your symptoms, you are definitely healing. If you try to lose weight at the same time as that healing, you are going to compound the healing that you are doing, and you're going to speed up your recovery. The next objection, but fasting scares me. It scared me too before I did it, and then I loved it and couldn't go back. Fear is not something to hold on to. Fear is something that stops us. We need a progressive mind. We don't need a mind that holds us back. If you want to fast, but you're scared, start small. 16/8 is a great way to start fasting, and then you can build your muscle up. You might say, but I already eat clean carnivore. I eat clean carnivore too, but it wasn't enough on its own, because eating clean, it has nothing to do with volume. It has nothing to do with energy. It has nothing to do with weight loss. Basically, eating clean is a very good thing to do, very good thing, and it will help your healing, but it won't fix your weight loss. The next one, but I'm peri or menopausal. Me too. I am 50 years old. I am still having regular periods, so I'm not menopausal yet, but I am obviously peri. And actually, I have done carnivore and OMAD fasting for the last 18 months, and I haven't had any menopausal symptoms whatsoever. None at all. So I'm clearly doing something right. Shorter fasting window, I think, is the key, because the less you are eating, the less it impacts your hormones, and your hormones can then do the work that they need to do. That's my view. I'm not an expert, but that's my view. I'm having a PEM day, so that's post-exercise malaise. So I'm having a fatigue day. So if you have chronic illness like ME or long COVID or fibromyalgia, you might experience crashes after very, very little exercise. And when you're in those crashes, you might want to just eat abundantly. It can be very comforting. It can be very satisfying. It can fill the time, because I know on those days where I'm just laying in bed, boredom really hits, and then my brain goes to eating. But what I have found is when I stick to OMAD, my recovery window from post-exercise malaise is smaller. There are days when I feel like not doing OMAD, and I stay on OMAD because I know that if I don't, my recovery is going to be 5, 6, 7 days. What you've got to remember is something that is hard is not necessarily harmful. And I am sat here in the best health of my life. So the biggest takeaway I have for you is healing and fat loss are not separate entities. They're not mutually exclusive. They work together, they compound together, and they happen when you stop overfeeding yourself. If you're in on this with me, comment reset down below and start my 7-day challenge that I mentioned earlier. If this video has got your ribeye juices flowing, then watch this video next, which is 10 brutal truths about OMAD, because it dives a lot deeper on the fasting element that I've been talking about today.